Welcome back to UKSM. You're joining us from sunny London. This is the second annual UKSM event, a yearly speedrunning marathon dedicated to raising money for charity. What charity are we raising money for this year? Special Effect, a UK-based charity which uses video games and technology to enhance the quality of life of people with disabilities. Before we get started, I just want to give a huge thanks to Jinx Esports, who have helpfully donated their state-of-the-art TV studio for us to use over the course of the weekend. Well, with all of that admin out of the way, I think it's just about time to introduce the very first runner of the marathon, Drakodan. He will be running Sonic Adventure 2 Battle in Hero Story. Well, as the Blue Hedgehog often says, you gotta go fast, and I've already been talking for far too long. Drakodan, when you're ready, take it away.
I certainly will. So, yep. Hello guys, I'm Drakodan, and this is Factories Far Away. Should just be joining me for the run. And I'm going to just kick it off right now. Alright, so I'll give you guys a countdown, right? Okay, 3, 2, 1, go. So as I mentioned, this is Hero Story. It's one of the 3 main stories of the game. And the game is divided into 3 main play styles as you are playing through the stages. You have Sonic's speed stages, you have Tails' mech stages, and you've got Knuckles' hunting stages. So we're starting off with a Sonic stage, and these are speed-based. So the objective of these, just get through the stages as quickly as possible. So City Escape is the first stage of the run, and it also has one of the most difficult and most severe skips of the run, which I'm already nearly coming up to, and could potentially save me 30 seconds if I land it. Man, I made this mistake in the last time I did this, this marathon as well. I didn't get the skip last time though, so we could see an improvement there. I've basically got one attempt at this skip before I'm just going to continue without it. I didn't get the run jump. So I need to be able to have maximum speed going down that hill and ignore the speed change provided by the speed pads by storing a spin dash through them. And then I simply try and do a trick jump off the ramp, which isn't so simple when you store a spin dash through there, as I need to be able to unroll from the spin dash and then do a jump. It's actually quite a lot of inputs in a short frame window, and I did miss it, but it's not too severe. Even if you manage to get the ramp jump, there's like pseudo-random elements that go into determining whether you even get the skip due to Sonic's positioning. It's a really silly skip. So instead we get to see the rest of City Escape. I'm just going to try not to take a death on this pit skip here. That is surprisingly easy to take a death there, and I'm not entirely sure if I even got a checkpoint, so that'll be quite a big time loss coming into the start of the run. Similarly, at the bottom of this rail section, I need to make sure I don't take a death in this pit by just jumping off to the left, since that rail is very finicky with how you jump off at the bottom if you don't use directional input. So right here in this truck section, you're seeing the fundamentals of Sonic movement here. More often than not, I want to just use spin dashes to go as fast as possible, especially if I'm going downhill like this. When going downhill, it's fastest to just let a spin dash roll, as in here. And when I reach a flat, I want to chain the spin dashes together by unrolling and rapidly recharging. It's the same when I'm going uphill as well. You really want to unroll from ball form as quick as you can if you're going uphill, because you'll just keep decelerating if you're in ball form. So, considering not using the skip in City Escape, getting a sub 2 minute, definitely not a bad time. With the skip, it can easily push you under 130, but I missed it, and just attempting it cost a couple of seconds. If you're particularly observant, you'll also notice that I actually didn't get the emblem cutscene after finishing City Escape. This is not a New Game Plus run. I'm using a fairly newly discovered glitch where we can actually skip the emblem cutscenes and it persists while the game is active. So I'd actually set that up prior to starting the run, and this is going to save over 2 minutes over the course of the run. Since this game is timed by IGT, just adding up the sum of all of the level segments you can see in the top left, it doesn't really affect how fast the run is, but it really helps to streamline it, and it's nice for marathon settings like this to just reduce the time of the run a little bit, and it makes it look better as well. So, got through Sonic's first boss, and this is Knuckles' first stage, Wild Canyon. So I mentioned that Knuckles' stages are hunting based. The objective of these stages is to find 3 shards of the Master Emerald, which are randomly generated throughout the stage, and I'm using hint monitors to help me detect them. So I've got my first one. This is a really bad one, but I could potentially get what we call a free piece on the way to it, which are pieces that are just sitting in the middle of the stage, which you don't necessarily need a radar to get. It doesn't look like I got one though, so this is not a particularly good piece layout so far. Ideally for Wild Canyon, I'd like to finish this stage in under 30 seconds, so yeah, this is a very bad layout I'm getting here between the red pillars, yeah. If I'd rotated the camera more, I might have been able to see this for free, but I just got bad RNG there. So that shows about as bad as that stage can potentially go, and you still finish it fairly promptly in just over 30 seconds, so it's not too bad. The other stages that Knuckles has do have more RNG variants, but we're really just going to have to see when we get there. Like, I had a really bad stage there, so clearly the others are going to be better to make up for it, because that's how it works. And so right after getting the first taste of Knuckles, we're getting the first taste of Tails' gameplay, and Tails actually starts with a boss, not a stage. Though Eggman is a very simplistic boss fight. You just face towards him and you can pretty much just completely wail on him until he dies in 4 hits. It's not a difficult fight at all. And this is going to take us straight into Tails' first stage, Prison Lane. Now, Tails' fundamental movement is very finicky in this game. It's a lot more difficult to move quickly with Tails and to conserve that momentum. Tails is in this mech, which is slow to accelerate and very quick to decelerate. And it really hates taking sharp corners like that, so what you're going to commonly see me do, as I just did there, is I'm going to be jumping around as many corners as possible, because Tails will lose a lot of his momentum while cornering on the ground, but he doesn't lose very much of it at all when cornering in the air. So all of my directional changing, if I can help it, is going to be done in the air, unless I can take gradual corners like that while letting the camera do most of the turning. That makes it a lot easier to do ground cornering. So the gimmick of Prison Lane is that all of these gates that are barring my way are locked by specific groups of enemies, so I need to destroy these enemies to unlock the gates to progress. So I'm just clearing out enemy waves as quickly as I can while I reach them. There are some enemies that I can get earlier than intended by targeting them through solid walls, such as that enemy right there that I just got. That opens a later gate. It's just small optimizations like that to save time throughout the stage. So I typically like to look at my pace when I reach these elevators here, like 103, 104. This is a pretty decent Prison Lane. Like, if the rest of this is pretty clean, I'm looking at getting like a 137, I think, if this is, the rest of it's good. We'll just have to see. Hopefully I can dodge this enemy here before he shoots me. Nice. There's a couple of difficult early enemies I can get here. Okay, I missed this guy. I was trying to get that guy early, but the positioning for it is very finicky. Targeting a few more enemies through the wall, and one more guy at the top of that by jumping. And I missed this gate hop. Those gate hops are a little more difficult than they appear to actually perform, and yeah, because of Tails' movement, it's quite, like I say, easy to lose your momentum or get awkward collision, and bad stuff can happen pretty easily. 141 is still like a respectable time though. I used to be known for not even being able to get sub 150 in this stage when my time was already pretty respectable, so pretty big improvements since those days.
The Drakodan prison lanes.
Yeah, Draco tier prison lanes, that's the term. It's, man, times have changed. So this is Metal Harbor, Sonic's second stage. I've already done a Sonic stage, but it is going to be Sonic's first upgrade in about 10 seconds or so. Well, 13 seconds. I'll probably get it like 20, 21. Oh, 21 now, definitely. It's terrible. Getting the slopes launching me in the air. That's not entirely consistent in this game. So here is Sonic's first upgrade, as I mentioned, the Light Shoes. And this is going to let Sonic use the action button to light dash across trails of rings like that. It can activate unhelpfully sometimes, and it is assigned to the same button as every other action that Sonic can perform, like somersaulting and spin dashing, so it can be a little difficult to learn to manage them. We can also exploit, with the action button, something called storage, which I kind of used a little bit just there, but not particularly well, but you're definitely going to see on this next somersault barrier. To get under these barriers, you normally need to somersault, but we can appear to just run under them, again by holding the B button. Because somersault and spin dash are on the same button, the game essentially needs a way to differentiate which action you're using since they're on the same input. And while you're holding the B button, the game essentially considers you to be somersaulting, even if your animation doesn't suggest it. So Sonic actually has a shorter hitbox and is able to inflict damage on enemies while the B button is held down, in the short period before the spin dash starts charging. So that's why it appears that I'm able to just run under somersault barriers. And after this stage is finished, we're going to be entering the Shadow 1 boss fight, and you're going to see the other element of storage, which I mentioned was being able to inflict damage on enemies. Sonic's going to just appear to run into Shadow 3 times and damage him without really doing anything. Looks pretty funny. 125 is quite a respectable Metal Harbor as well. I made like some mistakes here and there, but for the most part it was pretty clean, and I'm not too unhappy with that fight at all. A lot of people know this as the best cutscene in the game, apparently. That's wrong, but I'll just let it play out because this is a big meme.
Hey, that's that blue hedgehog again of all places. I found you, faker. Faker?
Y'all the fake hedgehog around here.
Hedgehog around here.
Because like IL boss fights in this game, I've watched this cutscene hundreds of times and I hate it.
To be
Make you eat those
I hate this cutscene. You have to watch this cutscene if you want to do story style ILs every attempt. Oh, I started my inputs too early, apparently. Okay, so I need to get a regular hit 1, but now I'm just going to be... Oh, Shadow, dude. The high jumps. Alright, fine. Pleb tier fight. Wow, that was horrible. Getting a 15 there is really not good. I'm honestly unhappy if I don't get a 10 there. And considering the task gets a 1094, that gives me, I think, 4 frames of leeway before I'm unhappy with the time that I got. But that is a fight that like should go the same every time, but I apparently just started my inputs too early there. The problem is that before a certain point on the timer, you don't have control of Sonic, and if you have the B button held down, it doesn't register the input. And since there is a delay before the spin dash comes out, I can't visually tell if I've gotten the correct timing for the input until I actually start spin dashing, and it just didn't happen. So I clearly pressed the button too early. So I've got Green Forest here. This is a really technical stage with a lot of slopes, which can play very hardball with the ball mechanics. So really gonna have to hope that I don't get flung off every slope like that. These things can happen, but it's just minor stuff. There's much more important stuff that needs to go correctly in this stage, such as a couple of short skips that are gonna be coming up later. There is a major skip in this game, which I'm not entirely sure yet if I'm gonna give an attempt at. Maybe? I can probably be convinced. Like, if you guys insist that I go for a skip that I'm not entirely consistent at, but can potentially save some time, I'll give it 1 attempt. There's a checkpoint right there, so it's not really going to cost time if I miss it. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, you should give it a go.
Oh, risky. Alright. I guess. I'm not consistent at this, though, so this is not going to go well. But I'll try it. It's possible that I could bail out of it when I attempt it as well, so it's not going to be all bad. And like I say, it's only going to cost a few seconds at most if I miss it. Alright, so I need this checkpoint. Alright, try and work out what's happening here. I actually got it. I actually got Task Run. That is one of the most difficult strats in the game. I do not practice that. I barely know how to do it, and I got it first attempt. Wow. So a lot of stuff happened there. I got on the side of the loop, spin dashed off the side of it, and then I homing attacked into what we call a loop speed trigger. The game helps you get around loops in this game by giving you a burst of speed to get around them as you are holding a directional input. And I homing attacked into the loop speed trigger while I was in midair with skewed gravity, because the gravity in this game is really dynamic. That forced me towards the tree and let me safely land on it. I then landed on the correct part of the tree, which allowed me to spin dash on it to gain extra speed. And then I correctly turned my angle to keep sticking to the tree, jump off it successfully, and use what we call a jump hover by pausing the game to be able to augment my distance and make it to the platform on the other side. Like, there's a lot more going on with that strat than it looks, and that is actually the first time I've cleanly got it in a run. That was, wow. Alright.
See, this is why you should always listen to me.
I mean, yeah, that's right. That's true, I suppose. So, yeah, Pumpkin Hill, another knuckle stage. This is going pretty badly already, but Pumpkin... Okay, that's not a bad second piece, Pumpkin Snowman. So my third piece is probably going to be something like King of the Hill. It's probably not going to be a good piece, but we'll see. Do something bad. Okay, that's probably going to be over here. I know that it's probably going to be over here despite being in 2 potential locations because of the way the game generates pieces. Like, I'll take a moment to talk about how the game determines which pieces you're going to get. So piece 1 is entirely random. Like, the game just looks at all the possible piece 1s, it assigns you a random one. From there, it looks at which piece 1 it's given you, and it looks at the distance between that piece 1 and all the possible piece 2s, and it locks out the 50% of piece 2s that are closer to where piece 1 was. So in other words, you're going to get a piece 2 which is far away from where your piece 1 was. Then from piece 3, it does a lot of complex math, where it looks at where piece 1 and 2 were, and then it looks at the total area between those two, and every possible piece 3 in the stage. Like, it creates a bunch of boxes, essentially, showing the total area between them. And then it chooses a piece which results in one of the 50% largest areas. Like, it sounds very complex, and it honestly is quite complex, but it works, I guess. So I'm using an in-game time abuse here, because the cycles in this stage are progressing while the game is paused. Or while the timer is paused, rather. And there, I just used Tails' new upgrade, the booster, to use what we call a hover jump. The hover is meant to be casually used to just slow your descent so that you can cross wide gaps, but we can also exploit it to boost the speed of Tails' ascent and make him go slightly higher. It's not much higher, but it is enough to make a difference in a lot of cases, such as to make that jump that I just made and to clear these cages right here, which I'm going to use another pause hover for. So the reason that I'm pausing is to try and get 2 A inputs as close together as possible, because a hover jump is stronger the closer the second A input is to the first input. And like it can be a matter of frames that decide whether you'll get certain hover jumps or not. So what I'm currently going for here is what we call zero cycle. I did mention that Mission Street is a cycle-based stage. And this cycle coming down here is what I'm trying to meet, and I have just enough time to make this. Nice. So that is the fastest cycle in the stage that I can make, and you can see like how close it was, that if I'd made like any more mistakes, I just wouldn't have made that cycle. And I did make one mistake getting damaged by the enemy as I got boosted over the cages, but it wasn't severe enough of a mistake to cost that cycle. So this is a really healthy run so far. If had I gotten City Escape Skip, this would like easily be PV pace right now actually, because the task run trick that I did in Green Forest, I don't have that in my PV. So that saved like 15 seconds over what I would have gotten in PV. I made a bit of a mistake going through this whole way here, but it's nothing major. Again, just trying to, since I'm not jumping, I'm trying to let the camera do most of the direction changing for Tails, only very gradually changing the control stick. And a 204 is not too bad for Mission Street. Like, the last hallway was not very good, like I say, so it could have gone down to like a 202 at best. But definitely not bad. So, straight out of a Tails stage and straight back into another Knuckles stage, because Pumpkin Hill apparently wasn't enough for mid-game. So we have Aquatic Mine. There's a bunch of free pieces that I can see in the intro cutscene, so I'm actually looking very closely here. I don't see any, but we're just going to have to wait and see. So I've got a green ping, which means I'm just going to go straight forward and get water level 3 to drain the water out of the stage and give me freer movement in an oven. So that's probably this one. That can be in 3 different locations. Ghost Window is at the top of this main hall. Ah, I missed the wall run. There's a bunch of wall runs that you can use with those slanted signs, but it's very finicky and I am not very consistent at them at all. I did miss a free piece. God, this is why I need to play in 16:9. It's quite easy to see that piece if you're playing in 16:9 aspect ratio because the field of view is wider. But I'm one of the few players who plays in 4:3 because I just prefer the feel of it, and it does restrict your field of view. So I shouldn't have missed that. That would have actually been a really good piece set if I'd seen that. So that's unfortunate. But I still came out with at least an average level time. Like, that was average or slightly better than average to get a 34. It just would have been really nice if I'd seen the free piece. So Route 101 is the only kart driving stage in the game. This is honestly a bit of a breather in the middle of the run. Like, the time variance in this stage is only going to be a few seconds at most, as long as I don't make a catastrophic mistake like falling off the stage, which is very uncommon. Absolutely. Go ahead.
So, we already have 3 donations come in. There's £2 from Aaron, first real donation, and also a test. He's one of our staff members. We also have one from Ozita, who is also in the room. £5. Just wanted to say good luck to all of the runners through the marathon, and thank you all for giving your time. And then there's also one from Shygrim, £10. Hello all, here's to kicking off the event. I really wish I could have made it down there this year to be a part of it, but, you know, minimum wage. Hi everyone, missing you, wish I was there, and good luck to all of the runners. Much love from Seattle.
Yeah, thanks very much to everyone who's donated already, and to everyone who's going to help support this event. You guys definitely helped make this happen. I kind of forgot this was a charity marathon. I was just wrapped up in playing the game. I was like, oh yeah, donations. That is a thing. So, already like a minute and a quarter into Route 101, and the main trick that you're seeing me exploit just throughout the entirety of this stage is this drifting back and forth that I'm doing. We call this snaking. And I'm doing this because there are 2 speed caps that the karting stages use. There is the normal driving speed, and then there is the speed that you get when you use a boost. And the boost speed is not permanent. Like, you use a boost, you'll go faster for a while, and then you'll return to your regular speed. But if you're in this drift state, you actually won't decelerate. Like, the only thing that will force you to decelerate is if you collide with something or go up a hill. So I'm just drifting to maintain that extra speed. Like, currently, and for the entirety of the stage, I've been going way faster than I'm supposed to. And, okay, I didn't miss the important boost there. The boosts are determined by how many rings you get in certain spots, and I was very worried about missing that boost because it is quite important for the end of the stage. So, giving that car a very wide berth, because obviously if I hit it I slow down, I don't want that, but when that car reaches a certain point at the end of the track, it despawns, and if the timing aligns so that I hit that car as it despawns, it actually takes the entire stage with it, and you take a guaranteed death. Because there's no more track, and then you die over 2 minutes into the stage, and it's one of the most hefty deaths you can take in a Hero Story run. So yeah, I'm just being very careful to avoid that. So this is a really healthy run so far, and I'm going into what we call the desert section. Hidden Base, Pyramid Cave, and Death Chamber for each of the characters, Tails, Sonic, and Knuckles. These stages are probably the most difficult to execute very well back to back. Not a particularly good start, but okay, still made it. So I'm going to have one attempt at a very precise hover jump here to get on top of this pole on the left. And I didn't make it. I'm not going to attempt that more than once. You need a very, very precise hover jump to make it up there, and another good one to make it off it and make it over an invisible wall later. I don't give that more than one attempt because... oh god, this camera. Alright, I still knew where I was going apparently. Even though the camera did not let me see where I was going. And I correctly grabbed the pulley as well. So the spot that I just passed with the collapsing pillars, the rising and falling block at the bottom of there is the reason why I don't attempt pole jump more than once, because that rising and falling block is on a cycle, and if it's at the top of its cycle, then I can't make it from where I perform pole jump. And it's not going to be in the correct spot of its cycle, basically, if I give pole jump more than one attempt. So yeah, just go without it. This is not a particularly great hidden base so far, but we can make through in one piece as long as the rest is pretty clean. Just try and shoot down these doors quickly. Nice, nice. There's a couple of tricky hover jumps to do here to skip this little part. Yeah, just to skip those doors. Oh, okay, I turned too sharply. Well, that's what I mean about if you turn too sharply on the ground, you just lose all your speed. Like, Tails just stopped dead in his tracks there. That happens a lot if you just do sharp corners on the ground, which I unintentionally did there. There's another couple of tricky hover jumps here, which is going to let me get out of bounds temporarily. Okay, I still had enough height to make it over the invisible wall there. Wasn't sure about that, and then the enemy, of course, was in the way, and the lock-on system in this game decided not to target it, because why would it? So just collapse all these pillars, and there's pretty much no hazards from here to the end of Hidden Base, so definitely, like, not the best Hidden Base I've ever done, but it's still comfortably sub 2 minutes. Like, if you're playing all the stages, all the parts of the stage relatively clean, there's no real reason you shouldn't get under 2 minutes at a high level, but there's a lot that can go wrong in this stage, and Tails fundamentally is just, the nature of the character is like, it's a million little optimizations to save tenths of a second here and there. So Pyramid Cave is Sonic's desert stage, as I mentioned. This is probably the most technical stage in the game. Like, I can try and explain everything that's going on at every point, but I will not be able to keep up with all the things that are happening on the stage, so I'm just going to comment on the major things, such as getting up here. Hopefully I have not... yeah, I don't think I've activated... I have activated free cam, I think. That could be bad here. Yeah, this is free camera mode, which is not particularly helpful for this part of the stage, because it makes it more difficult to see what I'm doing. But right here, I'm going to pick up Sonic's next upgrade, the Bounce Bracelet. This really helps us break the game, because it allows us to do this. So that's a super bounce. If you bounce towards a wall, and then hit the wall in the bounce form, it will immediately convert all of your current horizontal speed into vertical speed. So if I spin dash towards a wall and bounce into it, I'm going very fast towards the wall, and then suddenly I'm going very fast upwards along the wall, which is really useful. Very precise door skip here. Come on, man. I need to be a bit closer. That should work. No? Oh, have I got this weird thing that sometimes happens? Alright, I just need to make sure I was going as fast as possible there with a full spin dash charge. So getting a third try door skip there really is not what I want to see. That loses quite a bit of time to take multiple attempts on, relatively speaking. But we'll crack on. We'll deal with it. And there's another difficult mini skip coming up here. So I can use super bounces to go up walls, as I mentioned. I can also use the bounce itself to maintain skewed gravity, so that I can essentially fall sideways for a temporary amount of time, which helps me cut off certain sections like that. And it's going to be used again at the very end of the stage. Please don't fall into this pit. Okay, the rail detection can be very finicky in this game, so I could have just missed the rail there if the game decided that that was going to happen. So I'm going to get on the side of this loop and just do one more gravity bounce, just to skip that loop. 150, I'm not going to make defenses or dress that up. That was a bad Pyramid Cave. 150 is really not a good Pyramid Cave, but I had a lot of mistakes there in the third try door skip. These things just happen sometimes. It is the most technical stage, like I said, so it's the easiest to mess up. Death Chamber, correspondingly, is Knuckles' most technical stage and difficult to play well. I'm checking for a couple of free pieces in the intro room, but I don't see them. This is a really bad first piece, so I'm going to just grab this upgrade and restart to re-roll the pieces that I have. Still don't have a free piece, but that's not what I'm looking for. This piece I can run with. Red body is in the red-blue adjoining hallway, and I'm going to do a clip out here to try and get to it quickly.
Might I add that this is a very appropriately named stage.
Yeah, because I'm about to, please go, camera is bad in this game. So I've got my first piece, and now I'm actually going to take a death. Because when you die in a Knuckles stage, the game remembers which pieces you've got. And you can see that I'm respawning in the red room with a piece close by. This is called Death Struts, and if you remember what I said about the piece generation algorithm, piece 2 is always going to be far away from piece 1. So if you have a piece 1 which is far away from the red room, it stands to reason that you are likely to get a piece 2 that is in the red room. So we use a death warp to exploit being able to get back there quickly. Alright, so all in all, those pieces actually weren't too bad. Like, very much the right decision to reset on White Family, which is a very bad first piece. Got a decent first piece, which I successfully clipped to, then got a successful death piece, and then got a piece in the core. That's actually really not bad at all. Considering the restart, that won't have been much more than 50 seconds for the stage, which is a little better than average, I'd say. Like, that wasn't a bad death chamber. So what are we looking at for level times? 33 Wild Canyon was bad. I've had a 39 Pumpkin Hill, I think, which is a little better than average. 34 Aquatic Mine, which is, again, like, average. And that Death Chamber was average or a little better. So this is not too bad for the RNG this run. Very convenient. This is King Boom Boo, by the way, aka Rainbow Ghost, as some people call it. I say some people, it's some people that we don't really talk about in the community. But, so this boss is meant to take several cycles, 4 cycles specifically, to beat. Because once you hit him, he's meant to run away too quickly for you to keep up with, but if you have precise movement, of course we can keep up with him. And we can just beat him in 1 cycle before he runs away again. So straight after this boss, we're going into a Sonic boss, and it is the most difficult boss in the game to perform correctly. It's Sonic's Egg Golem. And the name of this boss is just use super bouncers, the same ones we were using in Pyramid Cave. The problem here is there is a very narrow gap between me and the walls that I'm bouncing off, which gives me about 5 frames to do each bounce. And a super bounce is comprised of 2.5 inputs, essentially. You start by holding the B button, let it go, and then press the A and B button. All that needs to take place within about 5 frames each, so these are very difficult to pull off consistently. Nice. 3 quick ones. After 1 restart, that's not too bad. And now at this point, he's going to head smash, so I'm just going to bounce out of the way and get a quick free hit in. And, no, I'm not getting away with that. Please. Please, this game sucks. Alright, I'm just going to wait for the head smash, because he's going to do it again. Bad fight. Bad fight. Can I get one more? Of course I can. Can I get the victory glitch? I just mistimed it. If I land that extra hit while the fade to white animation is playing, I actually gain control during this scene, so I can just run around with Sonic and still keep attacking. So this is Eternal Engine. This is essentially entering the end game. And there is another new major skip here, which I'm going to have 1 attempt at, and I'm going to just carry on with the stage if I don't get it. If I get it, I'm just going to explain what exactly happened after I get this. This is quite difficult. And I was not getting it very well in practice. But hey, I got tasks running Green Forest, so anything can happen. Nice! I got it. Wow, okay, so this is the newest clip that we have in Eternal Engine. What just happened is that I took a very precise path towards the boxes so that I would get a specific type of collision. I shot both of the boxes with a single shot by jumping and firing at the same time. And then the collision on the metal crate that was falling forced me through the floor, and now I'm out of bounds and I can just fly straight towards the end of the stage. This is going to be the camera view for the rest of the stage, and I'm using what we can see of the rest of the stage in the background to determine where I need to fly. Once I get towards the goal ring, which is going to be at about 1:15, I am going to need to listen closely so that I can hear where the goal ring is and drop accordingly, because it's very easy to miss the goal ring. Like, I can't really see where it is, and I have very limited visual cues to help me out. So that's going to be in a few seconds here. I click back into the stage. Alright, as long as I just hover here, I won't die. Okay, so I definitely went too far to the right while I was hovering through space, because I was looking at a couple of visual cues and I must have misinterpreted something, but hey, at least I didn't die. And this is still significantly faster than you'd see anyone get without this skip. So, 1:36. It's kind of like a bad new skip, and yet much faster than with the old skip, so I can take that. I'm just a little disappointed that I clipped back into the stage, but then again, like I say, I could have just missed the goal ring if I'd misjudged my location, so maybe I saved myself a death there. Who knows? So going out of that stage, and we're going straight into the final Knuckles stage. So far, like I said, my RNG has been average at least, maybe a bit above average. Meteor Herd can do a lot to change that. There are some terrible pieces you can get in this stage, but I typically get pretty good pieces in this stage, so let's see. Okay, Drilling Tower, this is very close by, but this piece 1 is at the bottom, which means I'm likely to get a piece 2 at the top, including possibly the Cursed piece, Floating Stone Above a Moon. Okay, 2 against 1, this is in the middle of the stage, this isn't too bad, actually. I really did not want to see Floating Stone Above a Moon there. It is at the very uppermost point of the stage, and by that I mean you take this rocket, you continue to go up, and then once you're up there, you continue to go up, and you have to climb and climb and climb. It's awful. That's the wrong spot. That's 2 stars in the moon. Ooh. Go ahead.
So the first donation comes from JW13. It's a £5 donation. He says, "Yo, Draco, best of luck with the run, man. Don't forget to send me those splits when you get back. Also, best of luck to all the other runners and staff during the event. You all are awesome." The second donation is £20 and comes from the ghost of UKSM. Boo! Sorry if that scared anyone. I'm usually a nice ghost.
Wow. Thank you very much, JW.
You thank the ghost of UKSM.
I don't know who that is. Alright, I do just need to listen for a second for an audio cue here. Okay, should be good. So Rouge is meant to be a pretty difficult boss fight where you end up flying around the arena and need to track her down, but we can just go straight towards her and handstand against her repeatedly by exploiting the fact that she's very passive if we're airborne. And so we're going into Crazy Gadget now. If the task run in Green Forest is the most difficult strat that I did in this run, this is going to be the other most difficult strat I'm doing in this run, CGSS, or Crazy Gadget Skip Skip, a method of skipping the old Crazy Gadget skip. So I'm going to get to the gravity room, as we call it, switch gravity to the left, get in a very specific spot on the side, and I need to do a spin dash jump, which will help me weave between multiple kill planes and then fall straight into the goal ring at the end of the stage, but there is a hell of a lot that can go wrong with this skip, so I definitely need that checkpoint. Alright, focus time. Alright, I apparently didn't get my jump input off there. Like, if you don't jump immediately, you hit a kill plane that's directly underneath the platform where you start, so I didn't even see if I would have avoided the kill planes. I apparently just missed an input there. Nice, out of bounds first try. Now I need to do
Second try.
Well, when I got the jump off, come on, give me a break. I'm very far away, actually. Actually, this should be fine. Oh, I'm a bit high. Yeah, I need to. What? All right. Okay. Apparently that happened. I don't know how I didn't hit the goal ring there, but okay, we'll get it this time. It's fine. Alright. Not too sure about this one either. Playing on laptop's always a little weird for this. Yeah, you can see that the goal ring is quite difficult to reach here. Like, there is a lot of distance that you need to make up, and I'm even trying to boost my distance a little bit with the bounce attack, and it's still not quite getting me there. Okay, this one feels quite a bit better. This should be fine. Oh yeah, this should be good. Easy skip. Third try, easy.
It was first try.
It was, yeah, first try, exactly. First try, easy skip. That was terrible. I did really badly there, but at least I got out of bounds consistently, but missing the goal ring, that's not something I should be doing. Oh well, these things happen from time to time. So Eggman 2 here is Tails' final boss. This is meant to be a really dangerous fight where Eggman can kill you extremely quickly with his huge laser of death, but instead we're going to kill him really quickly. If we've already taken damage, I don't really care about the laser iframes. So we simply face tank a hit from his no-scope shots, and that prevents us from taking really heavy damage from the laser. There's another potential skip I can go for in this last stage, but I am not going to attempt it because unlike Task Run and CGSS, this skip is borderline random. The fundamentals of fast final rush skip is that I simply bounce towards a kill plane and I hope I don't hit it. I know. Because the kill plane is thin enough that... Oh my god. What is this? Yeah, the kill plane is... Oh my god! It's thin enough that if I bounce towards it correctly, I will be on one side of it on one frame and then on the other side of it on the next frame. But it is not consistent at all. And by that I mean it's about a 12% chance for me to make it through. So I need to remember my timing here. I don't really know when I should be turning. Using skewed gravity here to try and avoid every kill plane in the stage. I'm trying to go around every kill plane and just fall towards the end of the stage. I don't think I've timed this correctly. We'll see. Yeah, I need to actually pay attention to the timer when I respawn. So what I'm trying to do there is once the camera pans around, I wait for the timer in the top left to tick up, and then I will wait 16 seconds and then turn to the left, which gives me enough time to make it around all the kill planes. Okay, I'm going to go at 34.5 and then do a slow left turn just to be conservative. Alright, that should be good. And with this variant of the skip that I'm using, because there are multiple ways you can approach the skip, I should have more than enough height to make it to the goal ring at the end there. That's the thing you really need to worry about the skip. Like, I could have been super safe and just fallen longer to make sure I got around the kill planes first try, but the longer that I fall in my initial direction, you can see now that I've turned to the left and I'm falling towards the goal ring, which means if my initial fall takes longer, I'm heading further away from the goal ring and it's harder to reach it, and yeah, this is more than enough height to make it. So this is the last stage in the run, so after this is just going to be the last boss of the run, which is Shadow 2. And it's hopefully just going to take me 16 seconds if I manage to get 5 quick homing attack hits and keep him locked down. So I'm going to be counting out the hits as I get them, and time is just going to be on hit 5, so it's just going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, time. Yeah, that's what I'm going to be doing it. I'm just going to be calling out the hits as I get them.
No problem.
So no emblem cutscene, just straight into the fight. And as long as Shadow doesn't give me any like awkward homing attack collision detection, like I say, this is going to be about 16 seconds. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and time. Yay.
You did the thing.
I did. I did a lot of things in that run, and I failed some other things. What was my finishing time?
So your finishing time was 36 minutes and 25 seconds.
That's not too bad, considering this laptop has really bad loading times.
So you happy with the...
I'm pretty happy with how that run went. Yeah, I was not expecting to get tasks running Green Forest at all. I really messed up CGSS, but one part of the run had to go badly. All in all, I'm pretty happy with that run, yeah. Cannot complain at all.
And your laptop didn't turn out.
Oh yeah, how much battery do I have left? 41%, wow.
Really?
Down
by like 20%.
Yeah, exactly. Battery
Power
saving mode.
saving mode's really good.
Exactly, yeah. So yeah, thank you guys very much for having me, and this is not going to be the last you see of me at this event, because I've got more runs coming up later, I believe.
Yes.
No, I believe, I do. But,
Yeah.
but yeah, that was Sonic Adventure 2. I hope you guys enjoyed, and we'll be back soon with the next game.
Yep.
Where's the next game?
Really good run. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm glad you did enjoy it. You said you enjoyed it. Next up, we've got Neko with BioShock Remastered, any % New Game Plus on the Xbox.